Hello everyone and welcome back to another scrap mechanic video. In this one today we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to do something rather casual and I have no idea really where this is going, but basically I had an idea to do something quite silly, and actually it wasn't quite silly, the idea itself. It's turned out to be very silly indeed. The idea was to have multiple bearings being steered in the same direction, or rotated in the same direction for one wheel. And the idea was that that wheel would spin around very fast, and then we could make something that goes really, really fast. And that's exactly what this thing right here does. There's a little bit of weight that's been added to weigh it down. There's a whole bunch of engines here hooked up to each of those bearings, and I even added some sort of steering system, which was a bit of an afterthought and quite amusing. But it's given me some ideas, and I want to kind of take what we've got here, rebuild it, and turn it into something really cool to look at. But yeah, let's do this. Let's zoom out so we can see the whole thing, and let's just hold down forward because this thing is going to pick up some serious speed and then it's going to flip. Also, we've kind of hit an invisible wall as well, so we're going to have to pick this thing up and put it back down again. Now, it's annoying that the wall is invisible. It's just over here somewhere. If I keep walking back, there we go. We can't go any further forward. That's annoying, but then I decided to add some sort of steering system, which was a bit of an afterthought. So what we can do is plop down a wheel, hold down forward, and it will sort of steer us in that direction a little bit. Except we're too close to the wall, really, aren't we? So let's go the other way. Try and turn all the way around, and the back wheel's going to hit the wall. Yeah, we need a better steering system, but there we go. It's turning around. That is so ridiculous. I love the way it pops up, and then we can put both wheels down and just head forward and try and drive like that, and I've managed to flip it over again. And I think when we put this thing back down, it's just going to be facing the wall again, isn't it? So I've got to turn it around. Okay, well, we want to see this thing go fast. Let's put down a wheel. Let's slowly turn it around, and then we'll try and go full speed again. Now, I'm hoping if we build this up and do a good job of doing that, that we can make this quite stable, because the more weight you put on this thing, the more it sticks on the ground. And it goes ridiculously fast. Now, the reason I decided to do this in the flat world type is because we've got more space and we can just go forward. If we were to do this in the normal world, I imagine it would just hit stuff all the time and you wouldn't really have enough space to drive. I love the way it tilts up to turn. That is so cool. It's actually quite stable as it is, which is interesting. But yeah, I want to build this up. I want to give it a look. I want to make it more interesting. Try and add more things to it as well. And it is a lot of fun to ride as well. So let's slow this thing down. I want to give you a close-up of the wheels as well in action. So let's press the buttons at the front. And there you go. It sort of pops down below and tilts to the side. And that way, you steer off to the side as well. Let's press the other one. You can see it fold down. Nothing too impressive, but I really like that. So anyway, this is the basic concept. What I'm now going to do is build this thing up, make it look good, and try and come up with some more features for it as well. I'm also very tempted to make it faster, because as we build it up, we could make the weight on the whole thing a lot heavier, which will keep it down. And that way we could possibly support it going a little bit faster as well. So a few ideas, let's see what we can do with them. So as I'm assembling this, I'm having a lot of ideas. I think it would be cool if when we steered from left to right, our seat sort of leaned over to either side as well. Now we can do that by adding a bearing here, and then further down the line we add another bearing, and that means that the front bit where the wheels are gets to stay still, while the bit where we sit sort of tilts side to side, which could look pretty cool. But for this next bit, I thought we could also put one of these in there. Can we get it to face upwards? And then this will connect into, let's say, like the shell of the entire thing, and that will cover up the wheels on either side. Now I feel like that, kind of aesthetically speaking, looks way too wide, and I think it's going to lose some of its charm if we do so. It could probably go a little bit further, but I just want to follow my instinct here. We're not building, a work of art. This is definitely going to be a derpy project, so we don't need to worry about speed too much, even though the point is to go fast. We also want to just do something that's fun, and I think that's the way to go. So we're going to do that, then we're going to add another pipe here. So this bit on its own can individually rotate between the other ones. We'll also put another one there, and then this bit's probably going to be the front where the wheels are, somewhere down there. I don't know how that's going to play out, but now that we've got these two bits in place, we're going to do that. Is that a little bit too high? That kind of feels like it might be a bit too high. I'm going to add like a platform on top of here. Maybe it will just connect directly to it. And what we're going to build it out of, I don't know either. So some of these materials, I try and avoid using the blocks. They're not very interesting compared to what these other things can do aesthetically. But they'll connect to something, and then that'll be like the platform and the shell of the ship. So that's how the wheels at the front should connect, but look at the size of them. I wanted to have smaller ones, so this thing would be slightly higher at the back and it would be tipped down at the front, but that is a little bit much, I think. And these also aren't connecting with bearings because the bearings are on the inside, which is a little experiment that I wanted to do. Now let's say we did move the bearings and put them down there. That kind of looks a little bit odd, doesn't it? So I'm not sure exactly how we're going to pull that off, but I think the best thing to do is to do a test and see if that's actually like slightly higher than the pipe, but it kind of looks like these bits here are going to be lower than the wheel. Okay, the way it bounces up and down, to me it kind of looks like it doesn't really hit the ground before the pipes does, but there's some sort of energy going on there. I think with an engine at that speed, that's a sign that those wheels don't work. Let's get rid of that thing. And let's prop it back on a lift because I've come up with a pretty cool idea here, which is to add this little turning bit at the back here. So this bit is going to drop down, which means we'll be tilted slightly forward, which is kind of what I was going for, but it also means we can put some bearings on this bit here, so we can actually turn the front left and right, and I have no idea how that's going to affect driving, but I thought be cool to chuck it in there and control it and make use of that. So what we are going to do though is get rid of these small ones, and then we're going to have the bigger ones, and we'll watch them drop down. Then this thing will all go limp. But is this the look that I'm going for? Yes, I think we want like one more pipe, and then that's what we're going to go for. I reckon that'll end up looking pretty cool. So we might have to take a big step back with this because this shell sort of looks a little bit ugly. I kind of like this bit over here. But it's sort of attached to the middle bit, which we wanted to rotate from side to side, and like the only place you can connect like these blocks to the pipes is on those flat surfaces. So those two right there are going to be reserved for tilting it left and right. And also with all of this attached, if we do turn it left to right or steer it right here, then it's going to move the entire frame, which will then clip with the wheels. So as I've built it, I've spent a lot of time doing this, and occasionally I've gone, boom, and oh dear, I've got to rebuild all of that, which I've got to do again. Well, no, we're not rebuilding it, we're getting rid of it this time. So I think I need to come up with something different, and I think actually I might go for more of a bare bones type shell, because nothing, like, it doesn't really fit with the pipes too good. So I've been looking through at the different materials in the menu, and I'm not sure what exactly to go with. Maybe we'll try something different, but we also need another way to connect these things to the pipe as well. Okay, this thing is looking great, so let me explain what I've done. We have just down there attached a single block on either side, and they're on bearings as well, which means in theory we'd be able to sort of rotate this like entire section back and forth a little bit, so this could tilt forwards or backwards. But while those wheels are spinning really fast and it's going around, I imagine that's probably not going to work. It might backfire. But a moment ago I just sort of looked at this and I was thinking it looks like a frame for something. It looks like you're going to build something on top of this, and then I realised maybe this is the place to put the engines. So what I'm thinking is, they are not actually big enough to fit in that gap. Wait, why can't... Okay, I can't place them on top of those? That's fair enough, that's interesting. Yeah, there's certain surfaces you can't place things on, like here, and apparently these beams are some of them. Yet the sides of those slopes are okay, apparently. And yeah, not on top of there at all. So the only place we're going to put this is there, and it's going to be sort of off-center, isn't it? So this might end up looking pretty bad. Why can't I put the thing on top? Because I can't place it facing down, basically. Oh, that's kind of annoying. Well, you know, we might be able to find a way to make it look good, but basically I was thinking loads of these in a row across the back here to control the wheels below them. And I can't place it on there again. Interesting. There you go. Something like that, but I'd figure out, you know, the proper way to put them down. I'm trying to get a good view of this, and I keep falling off. Let's go stand back here. It's got potential, but that definitely needs some work. This thing is looking insanely cool right now. I like this a lot. This is so much better. This is why, you know, if something isn't going well, tear it down, try again, because you're quite likely going to find the path to something much better. So what we're going to do is hop on the steering. Oh, that's going to be off center wherever we put it, isn't it? Because this thing is. Ow! Yeah, this thing is 3 blocks wide, so it's always going to be off slightly. Oh well, that doesn't bother me too much. And there's all the connections right there as well. We've got a controller in to hold everything in place because we're going to remove the lift now and give this thing a quick whirl and see how it behaves. That is really stable so far, and I've got a feeling the weight of this thing is what's giving it that stability compared to the previous thing. You know, this thing might have been able to go faster than the last one that we built, and we may not ever have a way of knowing that. I'm also wondering if those bearings are taking a little bit of stress, because I'm noticing that it's sort of moving around these bits right here a lot when it bounces off of the ground, and that might not have been the same if that was one structure without the bearings. And I interrupted myself in a train of thought there. We might add some thrusters, I think is what I was going to say. And that looks seriously cool. Now the other thing is that these are on bearings back here as well, aren't they? So which numbers are they? We're looking at numbers 9 and 10, and they're also rotated in the different direction. If we go up here to 9 and 10, scroll all the way down. By the way, they changed the mouse scroll speed there, which is great, because it used to be horribly slow, and now it blitzes through. Let's say we change it to 45 by default. Bam, all of that turns over, which looks ridiculous, probably too far. Let's take it back to, let's say, 15. That'll be nice and simple. And yeah, we can sort of tilt it forward a little bit if we wanted to, which probably doesn't make too difference to this. But it's nice to have that option, and I'm happy with how this thing is going. Well, I'm an idiot. I've been rebuilding things, and I added in these pipe bits here at the front. I don't know why I did that. It also became a part of my plans to make this steer left and right as well. I thought, why don't we just have this thing steer? Maybe I'll keep that. I'll make up my mind about that. But basically, I took off the front and rebuilt this because I wanted to program it with these things to steer. So I've thought about it a lot. And what we have to do is control this one and then this one here and steer one like to the left and the other one to the right. And that holds this in position. And if we include this pipe at the front and back in this, it means the one on the opposite side can swivel this bit here and that bit there. So you see 1 and 2. Now, if that doesn't make sense, don't worry. I'm going to pop up here. We're going to press the button to swivel. And you'll see that we kind of keep the front in the same position. And what I was thinking I want to do is have it so that rather than us pressing buttons, we have these hooked up to sensors. So when we steer left and right, we control a bearing which activates those sensors. And those sensors would also turn this thing at the front as well, which is something else I'd have to think about. So when we turn to the left, the wheels at the front go to the left a bit, and also it tilts like this, which I think could be really cool when you're riding it. So because of that, we might actually leave this bit in right here, which wasn't the original plan, but you know what, I think things changing as you go along, that's absolutely fine. And also you can see that something's gone wrong here. It's because... well, I don't know why that one sort of stayed in position, but you can see why that one broke off because of the bearing. Anyway, that looks really cool, and obviously I've got to fix it as well. So I want to say it again, I really don't like how this driver's seat is 4 wide. I'm kind of tempted to put 2 of them side by side and one of them to be obsolete. I might try that. That could look alright. I really wish I had a 3 wide one as well. That would be really cool. But what I want to talk about is these materials right here. I think they look good, but because we've already gone with orange elsewhere, it just feels weird to throw in another colour, or 2 colours, and another style. So we're going to go with orange in the middle, and I think next time I come back, this thing should be ready to ride. So it's done. We have built a very strange looking vehicle here. Do you know what? We just started out with an idea, and then it evolved into something that looks pretty cool and drives in a pretty strange way and can get broken as well, because we are relying on this little mechanism here at the back for when we turn left and right, and these things are typical for braking. And yes, you've just seen one of the little features that I've added. So steering is controlled at the back. When we steer to the left, we're also going to tilt in the middle in that direction as well, and it is ever so cool. I do very much like it, and this thing has other few tricks up its sleeves. One of those things was actually going to be with the second driver's seat. As you can see, I put 2 of those in for symmetry reasons, and I thought it'd be really cool if this one controlled, I think it was that part right there, number 5 and number 4 over here, so you could tilt or swivel the entire midsection. But what I found is the momentum of driving this thing forward seems to play a little bit of havoc on all of those bearings and connections that we have, and you'll see that when we drive it, which is what we're going to do right now. So let's not lose track of our previous vehicle. We're going to blitz in this direction, just hold down forward. You can see it's fairly stable because it's a lot heavier than the other one. Now if we try and steer it, ooh, things start to get a bit crazy. Yeah, you've got to slow down to steer. But we also tilt when we steer, which looks absolutely amazing. And it's broken. You see, the thing at the back is now broken. It's really frustrating when that happens. So now this thing is stuck in permanent tilt. I'm not sure what I can do to fix that. Probably not anything like immediately while I'm recording, so we won't bother with that. We'll hop up here and jump back into the driver's seat and try not to overuse the steering, which is difficult when you're trying to turn around. We could have also perhaps hooked up the left and right to the same mechanism as what's making us tilt, which would have made this a little slower and a little bit more rigid, which might have been a good thing. Anyway, we do have a couple more tricks up our sleeve. We can roll up the front like this, bam, and go into parking mode, and we can basically do the same at the back as well. So this thing will park itself. And then when we hold down forwards, the wheels are going to spin like crazy, but they can't go anywhere. So let's remove the brakes at the back and the front simultaneously, and bam, off we go. That looked a little bit hectic for a second there. Whoa! And, oh my god, there's one other thing that I almost forgot to show you. It is completely unnecessary and purely aesthetic. You can tilt the driver's seats up. When I was building this, I just thought, why don't we add some bearings in and make it so these seats can tilt upwards, which is really cool. And yeah, we have done it. We have built ourselves one heck of an interesting vehicle. It's a little bit derpy. It's got some flaws. It's obviously not about driving in the best way possible, but it was very fun to do. That's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to hang out here in Scrap Mechanic and have fun making a ridiculous vehicle, and that is exactly what we have done. So if you have enjoyed this video, please do leave a like. As always, thank you for the support. If you're new here watching Scrap Mechanic, then subscribe, as I'll be doing more Scrap Mechanic videos, and check out the playlist to see some of the other things we have done. All of the links and things that you need are in the description box down below. And we started off with this and we ended off with that over there. This thing doesn't have turning. I've forgotten about that. Well, it does actually, but it doesn't have turning for while you're going fast. Yeah, we definitely made some big improvements here, and it's been a lot of fun. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye bye.